Okay, thank you. Welcome for our lesson today. I'm Mr. Omar. I want to proceed from where I had left last lesson. I was dealing about the types of energy, of which we had highlighted here 6 types of energy. That is chemical energy, heat energy, light energy, magnetic energy, sound energy, and electricity as another form of energy. Now, we had already dealt with chemical energy and also heat energy last lesson. So this one is the third type of energy, which is known as light energy. We still continue to discuss about types of energy. Now, when you talk about light energy, again, it's not your first time to hear about it. You have ever heard of the light, where like heat energy, we said the main source of heat on earth is the sun. Still on light energy, we still base on the sun as the main source of light on our environment. Now, there are 2 different sources of light energy. We have to categorize some sources of energy as natural sources and the other one as artificial sources. So we categorize some of them as natural and others as artificial. Now, how do we base on? What do we base on when we say some of them are natural sources of light and others are artificial sources of light? We mean natural sources of light were created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and artificial source of light, these are sources that are made by human beings. So now, what are some of the natural sources of light? We have the sun, the stars, the fireflies, the meteors, and also the comets. These are some natural sources of light. Number 2, we have artificial sources of light, of which I said these are created by human beings, and they are the torch, the candles, the lamps, electricity, and the lanterns. These are the artificial sources of light. Those are now the 2 types of sources of light. Now, when I talk about it, after talking about the 2, we also have to talk about the uses of light. Now, in our daily life, you find that light is very important. In which way? This type of energy is very important in that it assists people and animals to see. Number 2, photosynthesis, photography, communication, photocopying, discouraging pests, and lastly, making of vitamin D in our skin. Now, when we say light is used for seeing, we mean that people move from one place to another, and also animals in search of shelter, water, etc., and also medicine. You find that if you don't see, you realize that you cannot move safely from one place to another, because light will enable us to see. Number 2, photosynthesis. This is a process by which green plants make their own food in the leaves, but they cannot make that food in the leaves when light is not there. So one of the conditions that must be there for photosynthesis to take place is light. So you find that for the plants, and you understand plants are producers, all the animals are depending on plants for food and also shelter. So you find that photosynthesis is also taking place because of light. Number 3, we say photography. You understand, for you to take a picture or a photograph and transport it to whatever they are supposed to be, light must be there. And then we have communication. For me to communicate to you, there must be light, so that you can see what I am communicating, because sometimes you can use gestures to communicate. And also you understand that the drivers along the way, when they are traveling, without those indicators on the vehicles, no communication. You find that when the vehicle is showing a red indicator on the left hand side, you understand that it's communicating in one way or another one. We also have photocopying. For you to duplicate some work, you need light. Discouraging pests, we have pests like rodents might be discouraged, or rats might be discouraged. They like hiding, cockroaches, in dark shelter, in dark places in the room. So when there is light, you find that some of such pests will run away and hide in darkness. Then we also have formation of vitamin D in the skin. You understand that when you lack, or a child lacks vitamin D, suffer from a disease known as rickets. The bones might be knick-knock, or we might have bow legs because of lack of vitamin D. So one of the main source of vitamin D is the light directly, which is manufactured in our skins. Now allow me to move to ways of lighting the house. There are different ways of lighting a house, of which you had already covered in your previous classes. There are different ways you can provide light in your houses. One of it is through windows. Number two, through translucent roofs. You find that there are some type of iron sheets which we call skylights, that allow light to enter the house directly. Number three, we also have electricity. There are different types of electricity. We can fix there bulbs to have light in the house. And lastly, we have lamps and also torches. Lamps and torches are also some types of way of lighting the house. Now, I think that one is all about light energy, how it is useful, its sources, its use, and the ways of also lighting the house. That is how we directly use light energy. Now, that one is that type of energy I have discussed about. As I remember last time, I discussed about heat energy. Now, allow me to move to the fourth type of energy. After discussing about light energy, allow me to move to the fourth type of energy, which is magnetic energy. Now, I am moving to magnetic energy, which is the fourth type of energy. And we say a magnet is a metal that attracts other metals. You find that there are some of the metals that can be attracted by the magnets, and also some of the metals cannot be attracted. So those metals which are attracted by the magnets, and mostly that is iron and steel, are known as magnetic materials. And those materials that are not attracted by the magnets are known as non-magnetic materials. Now, you find that because the magnet has the ability to cause motion, it can make an object to move from one place to another, so we say that it can work. And when we have something working, we say it is having an energy. Without that magnetic energy, we cannot say that the magnet is a type of energy. But because it can cause motion, a metal to move from one place to another, then we say it is having an energy, and it is the fourth type of energy, of which we have types of magnetic materials, and we also have non-magnetic materials. Now, what are some examples of magnetic materials? Examples of magnetic materials, materials that can be attracted by the magnet. I have here a very simple formula known as TINSCO. TINSCO, letter T, I, N, S, capital C, and O, means that now these are the short form on which, if you have the formula TINSCO, you can gram all the magnetic material in a very simple way. This one means T stands for tin, I stands for iron, N stands for nickel, S stands for steel, the first C stands for chromium, and CO stands for cobalt. Now, these are the magnetic materials. Now, from there, I will have to talk about non-magnetic materials. What are some of non-magnetic materials? Materials that cannot be attracted by the magnet. Non-magnetic materials. Here we have said these are magnetic material. Now, these are materials that cannot be attracted by the magnet. Number one, aluminium. Number two, we have copper. Number three, carbon. We have plastic. We have glass. we have brass, we have gold. Now, these are some of the non-magnetic material. We say these materials cannot be attracted by the magnet zinc. There are very many. When you talk of wood, chalk, aluminium, copper, carbon, plastic, glass, brass, gold, and zinc. These are some examples of materials that are non-magnetic, and we say they cannot be attracted, or the magnet cannot cause motion on these type of materials. So we say they are non-magnetic because they cannot be moved from one place to another by the force of magnet, or we say magnetism. The force that is in the magnet is referred to as magnetism. So these are non-magnetic materials. These are magnetic material. Now from there, allow me to move to uses of magnets. How can we use magnets? This magnetism or force of magnet is very useful to us. In which way? Uses of magnets. This is the fourth type of energy. So its use: number one, separating mixtures. Number two, in speakers of radios, it is used to make speakers in radios. Number three, it is used in fridges. The magnets are also used in fridges. Number four, to make electric bells. And lastly, in making telegraphs. Okay, I said what are some of the uses of the magnets, because we said it is having that magnetism ability to cause motion in different metals. We have discussed of the metals. They are used to separate mixtures. You find that if accidentally you mix magnetic and non-magnetic material, then you can separate them by using a magnet. Just pass a magnet on the mixture and you will have the magnetic material being attracted by the magnet, as the non-magnetic material remains. Now you will have separated the mixture of magnetic and non-magnetic material. You find that if all the mixture are magnetic material, you cannot use that procedure to separate. But if one of it is non-magnetic and another material is magnetic, you can separate using the magnets. Number two, to make speakers in radios. You find that all speakers are having magnets for the vibration and production of sound. Sound is also another method, another type of energy. I will have to discuss about it later. So in order to produce a sound, there is that vibration in speakers, and it is caused by the magnets that are found in speakers. Number three, we also have fridges. In our houses, you find that those fridges that are used to make to preserve our foods and make foods stay for longer, are also having some magnets that are making it to make the food stay longer. You will have to expound on it as you proceed with your level. And then we have electric bells. For the bells to ring, the magnet must be there to cause that vibration of the electric bells. And lastly, we have making of telegraphs. That these are the 5 uses of magnets. Now, from there, I have discussed about magnetic energy. So you will allow me to move the 5th type of energy. The 5th type of energy we have electricity as the fifth type of energy. Electricity as the fifth type of energy. Electricity as the fifth type of energy. Now, this is a form of energy. Electricity is a form of energy that can be used to light, that can be used to light, heat, and in electronic gadgets. Good. Electricity is a form or a type of energy that can be used to light. It can cause light, it can heat, and also is used in electronic gadgets. Now, as we define electricity, this is your second type, the second time you are talking about electricity. You remember in your pre-candidate class, in your standard 7, you defined it. Now here, we say it causes light, it causes heat, and also used in electronic gadgets. What are some of the electronic gadgets? You find that some of the electronic gadgets are globes or bulbs. We have televisions, we have fridge, we have electric kettles, so many machines that can use electricity. Those are electronic gadgets. Now, what are sources of electricity? There are two types of there are two sources. One, we have current electricity. Current electricity. The current electricity. And the second, we will also have to discuss about the second form of electricity, which is static. Now, what is current electricity? It's a form of electricity that flows in conductors. Is a form of that flows in conductors. Okay. We say current electricity is a form of electricity that flows in conductors, and its sources are the sources of current electricity. One, we have dry cells. Number two, battery, car batteries. Number three, hydroelectric generators. Number four, geothermal generators. Number five, we have dynamo, bicycle dynamo. We have petrol and diesel driven petrol and diesel driven generators. I think those are the wind driven generators or turbines. Wind driven generators. Okay. When we talk of the current electricity, we said there are types, and this is type of electricity that is that flows in conductors. We have some materials that conduct electricity. So each sources we have dry cells, you know the dry cells, the car batteries, hydroelectric generators, geothermal generators, bicycle dynamo, petrol and diesel driven generators, wind driven generators, or the turbines. You find that from these sources, now the electron flows in a conductor from one place to another, so you can connect even more than 7 kilometers from where the generator is to where it is going to function there. So it is in moves in conductors. Now the second form of electricity is static electricity. Static electricity. Static electricity. You find that this type of electricity, this form of electricity does not flow. This type of electricity does not flow. What are some of its sources? Static electricity. The sources of static electricity. We said current electricity is a form of electricity which is having which flows in conductors. Now sources of static electricity: one, when ruler or a comb, when a ruler or a comb is rubbed in hair. You find that when a ruler or a comb or a plastic pen, you have ever done this experiment, you cut small pieces of paper, then you wrap the pen or a plastic ruler or a comb in your hair. You find that there is an energy in that plastic pen that is now being generated when you wrap these two different types of material together. Then you put on your small pieces of paper. You find that the plastic pen or the comb will have to attract those small papers. So you find that that energy is from, it was just in the plastic pen, but after wrapping it together with your hair, you find that the energy has been created. And then we also have the window pens. When the window pens, you find that when you wipe the window pen with dry cloth, you find that it attracts a lot of dust to that. Why? Because it has created the energy. There was energy in that window pen, but before wrapping with the dry cloth, it had not attracted the dust. But after wiping with the dry cloth, you find that that wiping creates the energy which was static. So after wiping, you find that it is now attracting the dust. Now lastly, we have inflated balloons. Inflated balloon. You can as well, inflated balloon is the balloon that is having air. So when you wrap it in your hair or in a pullover, dry pullover, you find that the balloon, when it is wrapped, it sticks on the wall. You can put it on the wall. You find that it is sticking there because of the energy which has been created after wrapping with the pullover or in your hair. So that is electricity, which is also a type of energy. And then we are only remaining with the sound energy as we proceed to energy transformation. That is the end of our lesson. Thank you very much.